Sure, sure.
Yeah, you're unmuted. You're actually unmuted.
Oh, good. I am this time.
Very good.
I was playing around. I'm juggling so many things to do. Yes, we've got a panel of retirees who have made the plunge and decided that they want to spend their after years here in Portugal. So we're going to find out what it's really like. So what their experiences have been like, what's been good, what's been bad, especially if they're away from friends and family, and how
Yeah,
they've adjusted. So I think it'll be a really good one, really
that's
sweet.
the big one, isn't it? Friends and family. So I'll be hearing about how people manage that. Next Thursday evening at 7:30.
Yes.
Earlier this evening, Gisela, you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Gisela Cruz La Cruz, for being with us from GIR, Global International Relocation. Great job, Gisela. And if
Thank
you
you.
stay with us for 15 or 20 minutes now, it'd be great. I know you've had a long day and the webinar, and now you're here with us again on the Dream Team session. So we'll prioritize any questions about moving to Portugal and the help you can give people. And with the vehicle side of things, often prompts a lot of questions. So if you want to move a vehicle from the United States, for example, to Portugal, let's get those questions to Gisela early on. If you're joining us over on YouTube and you're meeting Gisela for the first time from GIR, who is trying to get her background round the right way as we speak. But I will translate that for you. Top right-hand corner is Global International Relocation. Also seeing Sarah Davey with us. Sarah's laughing because I think you've had similar problems in the past, right, Sarah? How are you this evening?
I have had similar problems.
We've all had that, haven't we? We've all had the mirror image thing on Zoom. So carry on, Gisela. But we know you're from Global International Relocation. We'll come back to you in a moment, Sarah. Good to see you this evening. Let's see what's new with our panel tonight. The Dream Team, the rock and roll of migration to Portugal are here, everybody. Let's start with the Queen of the Visas. Gilda, what's going on? 10 new offices for IMA, is that right?
Actually, I didn't count them.
Okay. Should we say some new offices for IMA?
Yes, some new offices for IMA.
Right. And anything else to report? I mean, they're doing their best, are they not? There does feel like an energy that's quite supportive, a bit of a turnaround going on.
Yes, I
Right.
told you since
You did, didn't you? Yes,
yeah.
you said you felt good about this. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, that's coming true.
Yeah, and I think everything is going to get better. Hopefully, in the beginning of next year.
Yes.
I hope that things will become normal. Now, this week they opened slots for some appointments.
Yes.
However, it's impossible to get answers on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
We keep trying and trying, but
This is
that's a beginning.
Yes, yeah, I think well, we had an experience yesterday. We were back at Leria's CEF office, of course, now IMA. All the road signs still say CEF, don't they? They haven't got round to that yet. They're forgiven for that. They can do that as the last thing in the process of transformation. But it was 7 years ago that we were in that office, first of all, when it was very stressful. My wife, Louisa, dropped her phone. It smashed the screen on the calçada floor. We still remember the awkward and stressful meeting we had there. It was all fine as it turned out, but it was just very unfamiliar to us and quite stressful. Yesterday, after a long process online of trying to get her residency sorted out post-Brexit, she was able to get an appointment, and she was dealt with brilliantly and very well by IMA. So Leria, certainly a very good office, and that once you get past the web bit and the telephone bit, it seems the experience in the office is getting much better with IMA. So great job. And we were very pleased to be having a good experience of them yesterday, or Mrs. M was. Anything else,
Right.
from the world of the front line of migration from your point of view in your office?
No, everything else is the same. But I think we are getting positive answers.
Excellent. So ticking along nicely. Any questions about moving to Portugal from that visa point of view? Of course, Gilda is here from A, and she'll be here until 10 o'clock this evening answering those questions. Daniel Reis of Reis and Pelicano, how are you this evening? Tudo bem?
I'm quite all right. All good on my end. And it seems that we have a novelty. The budget is going to be passed. The opposition guy just said yes. So I was just checking the news before coming online. So it's good news for the country, I would say.
So was that a surprise? Like, yes.
Yeah, not
Hold on a
really.
minute. Did you just say yes?
I don't think it was a surprise. I don't think that there was a lot of choice behind it. It needed to be approved. It was just the guys in power, they were just voted in. So it's good to have a bit of stability, and I think that we'll have. Well, this is going to be a term that will last at least a year and a half more, and I think this is generally good for the country, having political stability.
Very good. And anything else from the world of law, constitution, politics? And I see you're keeping an eye out for that
Yes.
for us tonight, Daniel.
Yeah, well, apart from the budget, I don't think there's a lot of major news, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Well, nothing wrong with that. We're going into autumn now. Things are cooling down a bit in every sense, it would appear, right? I mean, hopefully the stormy weather just relates to the weather and not to politics.
Hopefully, yes.
Situation domestically. And it's what a 48 hours it's been. The most beautiful weather here, as well as the most terrifying weather as well. So much lightning and thunder and rain, and beautiful sunshine as well. So changeable in such a short space of time in the last 48 hours, and a full moon as well, which I mentioned in the last webinar.
Well, we agree, yeah.
Yes, if Daniel gets any hairier between now and 10 o'clock, it's probably because of the full moon. Okay, just to give you a bit of a warning there. Okay, thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Carolina is here as well. Carolina Muralha, how are you, Carolina? Tudo bem?
Hi, Carl. Tudo bem?
Good
I'm
to
very
see
well,
you.
thank you. How are you all?
I'm well. I was just reminded that my dog burst into the studio in the earlier webinar. So how's Cookie this evening?
She's very well behaved.
Yes,
She's
she
in
is.
the living room quietly.
Very good. Okay. Anything to report from your world of helping people move to Portugal and finding them rentals and houses to buy?
At the moment, I don't have any news, but I'm open to questions.
Very
That's all.
good. This is a nice atmosphere tonight, isn't it? Things ticking along quietly and nicely, and we're just poised to answer any questions you've got with the professionals that we have lined up for you on the Dream Team. So thanks, Carolina, for being here tonight. I'm not sure if that's the same in the world of currency and how world events might be affecting the changing rates and in the FX world. How's it going, Sarah? How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, I mean, there's a couple of things. One thing is, I mean, I talk about the sort of service that we offer and the benefit. You know, everyone's focused on the rate that banks are offering or the providers are offering on the day, but there really is something around exchange rate movements and timing of that. So in the background, there's a lot more technical stuff that the dealers, people like Steve, Ben, that you're dealing with are looking at on a regular basis. And that's the sort of thing that we're using. It's very difficult to always, you know, forecast completely. No one's got a crystal ball, as they say, but there's a lot more going on. We take into consideration any data that's coming out, as I said, forecasting, and there's other charts that we're looking at. And one of the things we look at is the sort of really relative strength of a currency. So for example, at the moment, the euro is undersold, is what we call it. And we have charts that kind of monitor those sort of things. And if we look historically, when that sort of happens, it gives a bit of an indication that we may see that if you're certainly selling US dollars and buying euros, that actually it may start to move against you. And that's sort of on sort of technical data that we're looking at in the past, not just on what's coming out in the future of data, inflation data. I mean, even sort of the fact that the Fed are going to cut interest rates, that's already priced in. So there's a lot more that we're looking at that we can kind of give a bit of guidance on where we think the euro US dollar is going to be and what that cost then looks like to you essentially. And the other thing as well, as we all know, the elections are coming up, and elections always cause quite a lot of volatility as well. So it is sometimes worth maybe clients opening an account with us. It's completely free, but I always say it just puts you in a good position that either you can be talking to dealers now, it may be a good time to do it before an election, or at least while it's happening, if there is any significant movement, you can make a decision about whether you buy your euros now or later, or even if it's just a quarter or half, it just helps spread that risk and really helps you budget a little bit more and understand the costs of your move.
Yeah, very good. What elections are you referring to? Only kidding, only kidding. Day Sanchez says in the chat, when are the elections? I'm not sure if that's a joke either, but they are on November the 5th.
It's the 5th of November.
Yes,
Guy
which is
Fawkes.
a very special date in which is a date that relates to the government and its history in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Daniel's nodding; he knows about that. There was a certain message delivered to the British Parliament on November the 5th many years ago, and the other messages will be coming from the United States, I'm sure, on November the 5th upcoming. Says Jose Cruz and Debbie. Debbie was asking also for you, Sarah. Some US expat friends said they are moving money ahead of the election because they are afraid of a certain person winning. Are you seeing a lot of? I'll stay out of the politics, but are you seeing any twitchiness? I guess it will be one way of putting it.
Yes, and I always see that around elections, even historically, there is that sort of always that worry because it can happen. You know, you wake up and you're very surprised by
Yeah.
the result. So it really can happen.
Yeah. These
And as I said
times.
again, you know, yes, obviously, you know, if you buy it and it moves in your favor after an election, that can be a little bit frustrating. Obviously, I appreciate that, but again, sometimes it's just looking at what's your budget, what's your affordability, because that's the ultimate thing at the end of the day, where we see clients have maybe budgeted for a certain amount to buy a property, or they budgeted to buy a property and a car, then the exchange rate's moved so much that all of a sudden they can't afford that car, or that property's thousands of pounds more, or US dollars more, and is it affordable anymore? So that's the sort of reality sometimes to bear in mind, that it depends on your situation and what money you've got available.
Yes, very good. Okay, and yeah, of course, there are strategies that you can talk people through if they are getting a little bit worried at this time ahead of the elections. And yeah, just to clarify there, Dave Sanchez thought it was more Portuguese elections. Now, thankfully, because the budget has been approved and agreed, it's unlikely that we'll be having any elections anytime soon. So you can relax here in Portugal. Fantastic. Thanks, Sarah, for the time being. But any questions you've got about currency, of course, we can put those to Sarah between now and 10. Let's go to Nuno. On the week that we had a cyber attack, which is a concern, obviously, for companies and individuals here in Portugal, and many of the governmental websites were affected, Nuno. How did that reverberate in your industry?
Well, my industry and the big corporations don't like to talk about cyber attacks,
Right, okay.
but it's a reality that they
Yes.
exist every day. We only don't know how deep were the damages.
Yeah.
So yeah, IMA was attacked. Other governmental organizations were also affected.
Yeah.
But also would affect vacuum robots in some
Yes.
cities in USA.
Yes.
Seeking pets, and hackers used the speakers of the vacuums to say bad words.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, who put that in the software in the first place? Is my
Well,
question about that. But just to clarify, apparently some robot vacuum cleaners were chasing pets and saying
yes.
naughty words in people's living rooms or utility rooms or wherever these vacuum cleaners were locked up. But a little taster of what can possibly go wrong with this sort of technology, and you know, hopefully not a vision of the future. And as I understand it, Nuno, you can only get insurance when it comes to cyber attacks as a company. It's only a
Yes,
corporate thing.
in
It's not a
Portugal.
personal thing at the moment, is it?
Yes, at the moment, insurers are changing the products.
Yeah.
Yes, they are doing better coverages, but also they are avoiding some risks.
Yes.
So maybe until COVID, basically, insurers pretty much accept all kind of risks regarding cyber, and nowadays is not that way. Insurers are being more and more precautions, and because they are also evaluating the risks better, because now they are getting better and better data. So let's see what the future.
Very good. All right. Anything else from your industry? I've got a question
So-
for you, but we'll go to Giselle in just a moment and come back to you on that. Anything else from insurance?
Only one reminder that this is a question that maybe every 2 weeks someone asks us. which is a request for an insurer to a car that was rented. So in Portugal, you need to do the insurance policy, the auto insurance policy to the car rented with the company that
Okay.
owns the car, the one that you rented for.
Okay. And take out those extra covers that you get offered.
Yes, yes. Ask them, and they will tell you all the coverage that they have.
Yeah.
What you need to be very attention is regarding the excess, the deductible. Because usually the first offer is deductible like 3,000 euros or 2,000 euros.
Yes.
But just for a few more euros, you can buy a low deductible or excess. So
Very
be
good.
aware of this.
Thanks for that. Good to know.
I only want to ask you during this webinar if you can suggest some subjects that you would like to be talked about on our next webinar regarding insurance. Just text us or email me, and because we will include on our next webinar that will be focused on healthcare and insurance, but we can touch other subjects also.
Excellent. Great request. We love talking to you about how to access the Portuguese health system, and your updates on that are always great. But anything else that you'd like to hear in the webinar with Winsurance, do let us know. We'll come back to your question, Debbie, in just a moment. I need to say hi and probably goodbye to Gisela from Global International Relocation. Gisela, we have one question for you via YouTube, but for those people who haven't met you and don't know about GIR, could you just give us a quick introduction before we say bonne nuit to you and send you off to get some dinner and refreshment after a very hard day?
Thank you, Carl. Yeah, GIR, Global International Relocation, has been in the business since 2008. Initially, we started as an international moving company, and we expanded our services over time to include, a wide range of integrated services or complementary offerings. Today, we are very, very proud to be market leaders in almost all the services that we provide. We keep growing every year and improving in each services that we think will be helpful, for the needs of each one that are each one that needs the service, or they are moving to Portugal. And as I say, we continue to grow. We operate throughout Portugal with a team, over 100 people. And I'm very happy to be part of this team and to provide my support, my knowledge. I'm here to answer all the questions, doubts, because moving to Portugal, we all know that it's a very bureaucratic country, and there are several documents to be handled in advance to avoid delays, to avoid confusion and extra charges, which is the most important, and that's what we are here for. We are here to support and to help the people.
Excellent. Thank you. One question that's come in for you is from Jackie. Good evening to you, Jackie, who also says on November the 5th, it's the anniversary of the only man who ever walked into the Houses of Parliament with any integrity. That's harsh, Jackie, and other political views are obviously available. You ask also, could I please ask Gisela if you move personal belongings from the UK? And of course you do. If so, what is the rough price by size? Can you give rough prices like that, or does Jackie need to get in touch?
No, I can give a rough price, okay? But it will depend if it will be tax-free or paying taxes. That makes a difference. But let's say we are talking an apartment of T2 with two rooms. Maybe the move will cost around 400 to 6,000, 4,000 or 6,000.
Yes.
If we are talking about full container, 20-foot container, maybe it can go up to 8,000.
Okay, good
It
to know.
depends. There's different criteria for a move, but basically, where are you coming from? What extra services you need, in case there is a special requirement in the move, like external leave, parking permit, special crating for fine arts, or piano handling, etc. So it will depend, but this is a roughly, pricing that I can give you, but we can make an estimate if you willing to have more information. I'm open for that.
Very good. And we've also got a request from Alex. What is Gisela's contact info? Find GIR in the Expats Portugal business directory, of course. And you can, I don't know if you can track down the CPO of GIR in there, but we found out about Taco, the resident. What sort of breed is Taco who lives?
It's a Chihuahua.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
The chief
Chihuahua.
pet officer. Yeah.
The chief pet officer of GIR is Taco the
Yeah.
Chihuahua. How lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think Jerry's got a question for you, and this may well be to do with the new service, right, Jerry?
No, I just wanted to jump in on something else Gisela just said. That price of 8,000, was that from UK?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about full container, like
Oh, full
estimated a
container,
full
okay.
container. Yeah. I gave
Yeah.
like roughly quotes for half container, less than half container, or a full container.
Yeah,
But it will
yeah.
be, all depends on all the features or the requirements.
Sure,
But
sure.
and where is the city where they're coming from? Yeah.
There you go.
Okay,
That's for
okay.
Jackie. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
that clarification, Jerry. And also, yes, there is a new service from GIR, which Alex stands for Global International Relocation, or as you can see it on the screen, LLN this evening. with it backwards, but GIR in actual fact, Global International Relocation. And we've been swimming in acronyms tonight, as we often are, of course, but GIR stands for Global International Relocation. And just briefly, and then please go, Gisela, I didn't mean that in the best possible way, because you had a long day and you've been great in the last webinar. But this new service of sourcing cars in other parts of Europe and regularizing them, legalizing them for Portugal.
Yes.
That's a new service that's been introduced at GIR, right?
Yeah. Actually, we started with that service, starting from the needs of the people, that feel sorry for not bringing the car because the taxes are extremely high. If you are not changing your residence to Portugal, don't make sense. I'm being straightforward with the people that wants to bring the car without exception. Doesn't make any sense. So there is a alternative for them, and we can help, with all the process, since the negotiation, assessment of the car, providing the insurance, giving the transportation. So it's like a turnkey service in which you choose, we make the assessment, we give at least six options of cars, so we can, decide according to the budget. And then once the car arrives here, we legalize, which is coming from UE countries. So like we usually work with Germany, it will take no more than 2 months, so month and a half, between searching the car, between analyzing what kind of car you want and searching one and legalization process. So it will take around 6 weeks.
Very good. Okay, Alex is asking, are new cars cheaper this way versus buying in Portugal? I think that's a capital YES or SIMC, definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, and that's why it's a good service, Alex.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Gisela, thank you so much. Great to see
Thanks
you on.
to you all.
Your
Have a good
webinar will be
evening.
available on Sunday evening.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
again soon. Take care. Bye for now.
You too.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
excellent. And good evening as well to Christian over on YouTube. We'll come back to your questions a little bit later after we've prioritized the Expats Portugal premium members here, Team Premium. And if you want to sign up tonight, that would be lovely to hear. If you want to make the journey from YouTube to being on the Zoom call with us on a Thursday evening, sign up and let us know, and we'll celebrate you in the chat tonight. So yeah, Jackie, Christian, Renee, Carl Bro, somebody over there on YouTube as well. And Christian is asking a question. So we'll come back to you. Let's go to the questions over here on Zoom, as I say. And the first one this evening came in to do with visas for you. This was Tom, wasn't it? Some while ago, Tom. I'm just scrolling backwards. Very good, Tom. Uma pergunta para a Rainha dos Vistos. The Rainha dos Vistos. Here she is, Queen of the Visas. On the VFS Global website in the United States, there was a note dated August the 4th that it was taking around 60 days to process a long stay visa. Is this still the case?
Hello. Yes, that is still the case because that is the maximum limit stated by the migration law. Although we know that that limit most of the times is not respected. It takes longer than that. But 60 days, well, it can be before, but we know that because there is a high demand, usually it's more than the 60 days.
Very good. Okay, thank you. So let's stay with you, Gilda, and thanks, Tom, for that question. And extra points for you on the Portuguese there. Debbie's saying roommate got a D7 visa today, so congratulations there. And also to Mark and Jane, who I think are watching for the first time in Portugal this evening. So congratulations to you once again, Mark and Jane as well. We've also got a question from Day Sanchez. We had a visa question from you, didn't we? Oh yeah, question for the D8 visa, the digital nomad visa, of course. How many months must be shown to meet the criteria, Gilda, of proof of housing? And when does the timeline begin? Also, what if someone doesn't have the taxes from this year showing the most recent income? Thanks in advance, from Day Sanchez.
Hello. So for the D8 visa, they are not asking for long-term lease agreements. So you can just show them an Airbnb, a booking of an Airbnb. That would be fine. I would advise at least 4 months, because it's the time that you come with the visa and the time that you have to then find a house. Because when you go to IMA, you need to show that you already have a rental agreement. Okay. Also, if you don't have your last tax return, this can be a little bit of an issue, because they usually want to see and ask for it. However, if you are digital nomads, if you are employee, you can show your payslips from the past 3 months in your bank statements. If you are a freelancer, you need to show the invoices that you provide to your clients, and the bank statements to show the Portuguese consulates that you are earning the minimum required for applying for the D8 visa.
Very good, thank you. Let's stay with you. There you go. I hope that helps, Dave Sanchez. I'm sure it does. If you have any more questions, of course, you know where we are, at least till 10 this evening. This is from somebody who sent it to me as a direct message, so I won't read your name out, and you can always send messages, DMs to me, and I'll ask the questions for you, in case you didn't want to be identified here. Regarding the D7 or D8, how do you go about applying with a child under 5? Do I add them in my application for myself, or is it a separate family reunification application?
You should add if he's a dependent, you should add him in your application.
Okay.
As an compounding visa. So you are the main applicant, and then you can show and bring other people that are depending on you, or that are your direct family, such as sons or spouse, or even parents if they are dependent.
All right, there you go. That's for you who sent me that message. I'll just call you M on direct message there. I hope that helps. Thank you, Gilda, for the time being. Let's go to Nunu now. Debbie was asking about insurance covering car insurance. I don't think this is about car rental that you mentioned before. This is generally speaking. I got my car insurance through Winsurance, and I'm very happy indeed. Of course, you take care of that sort of insurance, don't you, Nunu?
Yes, yes. It's an easy one for us.
An easy one. Okay, so there you go. Thanks very much on that. Do you deal with the importation of classic cars? Sorry, Derek, I think this is probably for Gisela. And Alex is also asking for a list of GIR services. Definitely reach out and contact them through the Expats Portugal Business Directory. And you can also see the webinar again on Sunday evening when it's posted up on the YouTube channel of Expats Portugal. And it did sound like there were some preferential terms and useful benefits for people with classic cars. I have 2, says Derek. How do they value them? I think that's worth having a conversation with Gisela specifically about that, Derek. But it sounded like it could be useful. There were savings to be made if you had cars older than, I think it was 1970 was the date that she mentioned earlier on this evening. Debbie, to be honest, I'm probably going to buy a used car here in Portugal. Does Expats Portugal have a company you recommend for finding and evaluating a good used car? We certainly do, don't we, Jerry?
Yes, indeed we do. Drop me a line or send an email to findmycar@expatsportugal.com, and we will hook you up with someone who will source a car for you to your budget, to your requirements. Make sure everything is sound, everything is working properly, it's properly warranted, and also get the car registered in your name, and all that will be free of charge to you.
Yep. And we did do a webinar with the gentleman in question there who lives and breathes motor vehicles.
I think it was in June. So was it June? Was it that long ago? I can't, gosh. But that will be on our YouTube channel as well. That
yes,
webinar.
very good. Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for mentioning your free guide. I didn't ask you, I didn't get an update from you, Sarah, about your own life here in Portugal. So it's always good to ask you about how is it going with your move to Portugal?
Oh, it's going really well. So I have exciting news this week that I got my residence permit card.
Woohoo!
It's all official.
Well done. How was that moment?
Oh, it was such a relief.
Right.
And obviously, because I got my card delivered to the AIM office. So I mean, I couldn't have done it without Gilda's team. So whenever they went,
do you use Gilda then?
Yeah, so you Gilda's team.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Of course,
So
who
Gilda
else?
helped them.
Who else?
Right, I knew that really. Yes, okay. And you had it delivered to the IMA office. Is that a good recommendation?
Yeah, I did that personally because I thought it was for myself,
Yeah.
just because of the sort of addresses and that it was just safer to personally get it delivered, but it can come in the post.
Yes.
But obviously, you've got to keep asking, and I kept, oh, is it going to be there? Is it going to be there? There it was.
Fantastic. Okay. I want to ask if she's been a good client, Gilda, but that's probably a bit that's a bit too cheeky and rude. We know how it's working the other way around. Like Sarah would definitely recommend you, but I'm sure Sarah's been a fantastic client to work with as well.
Can I tell the truth, or was that a rhetoric
Yeah, come on,
question?
tell us. Go on.
Sometimes she's a bit stressed. She's like, I come here and all these Portuguese are so calm and I want things done, and why are they taking so long, and why do they take so long to reply? And
yes.
No, Sarah, this works like this, really.
Calma, tranquilo.
Yeah. But that's the life that I came here for. It's like obviously meetings and deadlines were late for something, and I'm sort of like twitching in the back of the car, sort of. And they're like, oh, it's fine.
Yes. It's so, and obviously you're not one of the retirees we're talking to next week. Busy working here in Portugal, as we know, of course, just Spartan FX. And that'll be my question actually tonight. I'd love to hear from the Dream Team about what they've learned from expats and people retiring to Portugal. What are some of the funny things you've learned that you didn't expect in working with foreigners coming to Portugal? If anything comes to mind on that would be pretty good to learn about towards the end of the session tonight for our kind of cultural question there, reversing the roles a little bit and finding out what you've learned from foreigners coming to Portugal. Debbie, for your information, my roommate's VFS appointment in San Francisco was August the 8th, and she was approved today for a D7. That's good to know. Thank you. Dave Sanchez, yes, Gilda, thank you. Just to follow up regarding the housing timeline. If I have an appointment on November, would I need to show the proof of housing from December onwards?
Yes, correct.
Okay, there you go. That's all good for Dave Sanchez. And thank you, Sarah, for your personal update there. It's always great checking in with you. Thanks, Jerry, says Debbie. Can you please drop that email in the chat? And I'm sure Jerry will attend to that if he hasn't done so already. First time asking a question. That was the person who sent me a DM. You can do that either way. It's fine. You can pop it in there in the Zoom chat publicly, or you can ask me. Either way is absolutely fine. And for you, Sarah from La Ronda, who I think enjoyed the full moon as well just recently. I think you were saying a woohoo from, please don't make me say all of these, everybody. Woohoo from Debbie as well. I eagerly check my mail slot daily for IMA as well. And Mark and Jane would like to say they used EA as EI2 as well, who are newly here in Portugal. How's it going? Nice use of the obrigado there, Mark and Jane. How is it going for you? What's the first thing you did to celebrate the fact that you were here in Portugal, if I may ask? Eric is here. Please, those outside overseas, are there upcoming events? Well, every Thursday evening we have a webinar at 7:30. We have the 9 o'clock Dream Team, which you're watching now. And upcoming events, Astrid, are you there to let us know the update on whether Porto is fully booked now or not?
No, Carl, we still have some seats at the Mexican dinner.
Okay.
But not many. I think there's like 4 or 5 left. So if you do want to come, definitely book. With the wine session, the wine tasting at Well Wines has sold out. But come along and join us. There are lots of people who are just coming for the dinner. So we've got the whole restaurant available. So yeah, we'd love to see you there.
If that's what you meant. Stay where you are, Astrid, because there's a great question from Alex. I'm about to renew my membership. And it was a great prompt, wasn't there, from Gilda last week. Thank you very much, Gilda, for reminding people that they need to renew their membership to get their benefits at Expats Portugal. Alex is asking, I'm about to renew my membership. The difference between the regular membership and the premium is the included 1-hour consultation, as far as I can tell. Is there anything else that's different? What should people know in the differentiation in the membership categories, please? Astrid?
No, Alex, sorry, I haven't gotten back to your email. I know that we've been corresponding today, but so what happened when you joined us? You booked the premium membership plus a consultation. But what you can do is rejoin just as a premium member. You don't need to rebook the consultation. We've banked that for you. So when you're ready to take that, you don't need to book it again. Just come and get in contact with Jerry or myself and we'll schedule that for you. So I did give you a renewal code. If you go into the premium membership and re-sign, you'll get a 30% discount because you are renewing. And but you don't need to do another consultation. We'll make sure that happens.
Wonderful. Thank you. And the other benefit, which we're seeing here, is you've basically got a hotline and a direct message line to the Dream Team here, as Derek is taking advantage of and figuring out a call with Gilda behind the scenes here. So that's part of the benefit as well of being here. And you'll have your questions prioritized on a Thursday evening. Mark and Jane, thanks, Astrid, for that. Mark and Jane and Alex for the question. We had a glass of port. This is how Mark and Jane celebrated being here in Portugal. This is a lovely moment. And I think you're in the Coimbra district. We had a glass of port in an empty bar in the town as the rain came down. I can almost taste that port and smell the rain. I think it's called petrichor, isn't it? When the rain's coming down. That must have been a lovely moment, even though it was raining and you'd just driven 1,250 miles in 3 days. But I bet that was some of the sweetest and most delightful port you've ever tasted in your life. What a lovely moment to celebrate there. Thanks for telling us about that, Mark and Jane. What about the discount on partner services, Astrid, as well? Alex is asking, is that different between the regular and premium memberships?
Exactly the same. You get all those bells and whistles just for the same price.
Okay, very good.
The 97 euros a year.
For 97 euros.
Plus you'll get the 30% discount. Of course, that comes down to 67 or something.
To renew.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. And Mark and Jane in wonderful Penamacor. That's where they have the most incredible Lidl hanging on the hillside there, isn't it? In Penamacor. A fabulous view, cheap shopping and a fabulous view across the valley in Coimbra district. Eric, thank you for the instant response, but the event should be considered promptly so that we can apply for a visa service since we're outside Portugal. I'm not sure what you mean there, Eric. Everything we do is advertised up on the Expats Portugal website there. And I think the general advice, as Gisela was saying, and Sarah always says, is reach out sooner rather than later with your timeline. So I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to there, Eric, but if we can help, do let me know. I've not even taken advantage of my 1-hour consultation yet, member for 11 months. But what I learned in these sessions is priceless, says Debbie. Thanks for that feedback, Debbie. And Diana B saying same here as well. That's lovely to know. Thank you, Jerry, for that link for Debbie in there. And LaRonda, I agree. The membership, whatever level, is priceless. Let's screenshot those tonight. We want those. Jerry, you want those on the site, don't you? Along with a 5-star review.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And 5-star, we love 5-star reviews. We've nearly got 100 reviews. Who would like to be our 100th reviewer? Gosh, we'd love to see that.
Jerry, maybe we should put the price up.
Pardon?
Maybe we should put the price up.
Well, the other thing I was
Everyone
going to
join
say,
before
Astrid,
we put
was
the
that
price up.
don't assume that because you've not had the consultancy that you know everything. There are some things we keep our own little secrets that we only share with people who have the consultations with us.
There you go. All right. Promises,
Yeah.
promise. Yeah, very good. Debbie's quick on the mark. Where do I review? Happy to give 5 stars. I think the link will be popped in the chat for that as well.
It's coming.
Here
Give me
he
a
is.
minute.
Jerry's all over it. Right, okay. Christian, hello team. Thanks for this topic. We're going over to YouTube now, and thanks to Gisela from Jackie as well. Hamad, good evening to you over there on YouTube. Come on, why don't you become an Expats Portugal member? You've heard about all the benefits there, Hamad. Hi everyone. Is there news about Parliament approving the new nationality law of counting time on application submission of manifesto de interés? Has anyone got a certificate of time count from IMA? We often go to you, Daniel, for this, don't we?
Well, we're still waiting for the first one that we requested, so we don't have any news on that regard. But the interpretation that I do from the law is the submission time, because this is it's clearly stated in the law. Although the law was approved, what's missing is regulations. So the regulation may stipulate some nuanced things, but I'm not counting on that. So the reading that I have for the time being is the time is accounted from the beginning, from the starting of the process at the time it was submitted, and the submission time for manifestação de interesse or golden visas is similar, is when the process is sent to AIMA and when the pressing of send does occur. So at the end of the day, although the regulation is still missing, I don't think that anything new or any developments will come out of this new regulation. And I would say by mid-November, we will have the first certificate of accounting of time for a golden visa client that we have, and we will be able to answer that question with 100% positive note. Is the accounting of time from the get-go, from the beginning, or not? But we are almost sure it will.
Thank you, Daniel, for that. I hope that helps Hamad there, who's often with us over there on YouTube. Renee also there with a Bonoit, and also Christian. How can I... Cheers, Daniel, for the time being. How can I transport my things from Portugal to Canada, 6 square meters of such? How is the process? Taxes? Thanks. Christian, what I suggest you do is either just reach out for Gisela from the Expats Portugal Business Directory and just have a chat with her tomorrow. Give her a call in the office. Or if you can wait, watch the webinar, which is very educational, and basically it's the conversation we had earlier this evening with good indications about how GIR work. But why not give them a call tomorrow? That's for you, Christian. My Italian therapy, Gina Fiore. Good evening to you, Gina. My Italian therapy, Gina Fiore, is watching from upstate New York, USA. Hi, everyone. I arrive in Portugal in December. Finally. Good news, Gina. Well done. Bought land in Central, starting residency process. Thanks for all the great info. So even if you're not a member and you just watch YouTube, we give you great value every Thursday evening. Christina, there is something weird going on with the Portuguese subtitles. As far as I can see, it is gibberish. I apologize. It's probably my Portuguese that sounds like gibberish, maybe on the YouTube. I'm sure it's not our Portuguese dream team panelists there. I have set it now to be in English, so it's English subtitles, which is probably the most useful, to be fair, for our audience. We'll have to go back to the drawing board if you're looking for Portuguese subtitles, Christina, on that. But that's changed to English now, and I think that's working a little bit better. There was Japanese earlier. I don't know what's going on with that, frankly, tonight. CB, hello. What are the tax obligations for rental properties? Are there any deductions I can make? What do you make of that, Gilda? I think we need Pedro for that one, don't we? Tax obligations for rental properties. Of course, you'll have to pay tax on any profit you make from renting property. And I suspect you can make deductions as well with the investments you put into those properties. Is that a fair assessment, Gilda?
I think I will pass this one to Daniel.
Okay, Daniel.
So the taxes for rentals in Portugal are generally 28%. But this depends a bit on the duration of the contract. So the higher the duration of the contract, the lower the taxation of the landlord. And some deductions can be done on the profits, like taxes paid, some minor renovations, but the deductions are not that substantial, and will of course assist on the final profit that the property has. But as a general ballpark, 28% deduction on some renovations and repairs, condominium expenses, and if I'm not mistaken, insurances as well. And that's about it. So it's not a major list of deductions. And the higher the duration of the contract, the lower the tax rate it gets applied to it. Although I usually advise in my practice to have shorter term duration contracts, at least in terms of the landlord, because if the contract does have a duration for too long, well, if the landlord wants the house back, it's way more difficult to recover the property.
Very good. Okay, thanks, Daniel, for that. And that's a protection, is it, from the government for tenants? Is it to give the homeowner a tax break for making the house available? Right.
The market in Portugal is highly regulated in terms of what the landlord can and cannot do.
Yes.
And it does protect the tenants highly. And one of the biggest examples on this is rent control. The rents. The landlord cannot increase the rents as they wish. There is a decree law publicized every year by the government that stipulates how much can the rents be increased in terms of the ongoing contracts. And there's protections as well for when someone or when a contract terminates and a new contract comes up, the rent cannot be increased at will. So it's a highly regulated market, and the protection is more on the tenant than on the landlord.
Right, very good. Thank you, Daniel. And good to know about how tenants are protected. But of course, when you're working in the interest of the homeowner, you'll be looking at it from a different point of view, as you do, Daniel, for homeowners, of course, are not finding themselves in a very difficult position over the long term. What if the tenant, well, let's stay with you for this question from Alex. What if the tenant isn't paying rent? How difficult is it to evict such a tenant? Not easy, right?
Not easy, not easy. One of the main reasons that foreigners find it difficult to sign a contract in Portugal is a guarantor. And Portuguese people like to have a guarantor because, well, it's a way to obtain the rent if the rent is not being paid by the tenant. And it's a pressure point as well, because the guarantors, they will need to pay equally as if they are the tenant, all the amounts owed by the tenant if that person doesn't pay. And usually the guarantor is someone that is close to the tenant, either a family member or close friends. And it's not only a financial pressure point, but it's a personal pressure point, because if the landlord talks to the guarantor and states, well, the tenant is not paying the rent, I'm going after you. Usually this guarantor will convince the tenant to pay. And one of the reasons that I usually tell everyone that comes to my office and states, well, I want to be a guarantor for this person, I usually ask, are you sure? Are you positively 100% sure?
Yes.
Because myself, I would only be a guarantor for really close friends or for family members. Otherwise, I wouldn't risk that position, because it is indeed a risky position. And the reason behind the guarantor situation is eviction times in Portugal and court times in Portugal, because the process takes such a long time. Sometimes it may take more than a year and a half to evict people. I have processes in court that are taking more than 2 years. Having a guarantor, well, at least the landlord will know that if the tenant doesn't have any money, the guarantor will have the money. That is the cultural reason and the legal reason, I would say, behind obtaining a guarantor, is the time that it takes to evict someone.
Thank you, Daniel. Alex, I think Daniel's basically answered your questions there since you asked them. But if there's anything else you need to know, do reiterate that in the chat. And your question that you sent to me, I have forwarded that on to Astrid and Jerry. So I think they'll get back to you on that particular point that you've asked me there. via DM as well. Good question from Debbie. Staying with you, Daniel. Thanks for those earlier answers about tenancies. This is a good one. Where do we find out the maximum rental increase per year? My lease is up in February. I'm aware I'm paying below market rent, and I do fear my landlord will raise it a lot. Now, a lot of people will be in this situation, won't they, after their first year of their tenancy that they've needed for their D7. It can't be hiked up suddenly. It has to be done in a certain way, doesn't it?
Correct. So basically, this is publicized by the government, and it's usually below inflation. So the hike will not be major or substantial. I would say that inflation in this year is going to be around 2%. So I think that the hike in the rent will be more or less that 1.5%, 2%.
Yep.
And this is usually publicized by the government each year. And the landlord, what they can do is to send a notice, a letter stating, I want to have the rent increase to this amount with the decree law, so they cannot just increase the rent at will. And that thing or that increase will only take its effect on the next month. So the current month where the letter is received will not happen anything. It's just on the next month that the increase will take effect.
Yeah.
If the landlord hasn't increased the rent in the last 3 years, they can use the last 3 years of increases and cumulatively to increase the rent with the past 3 years on the rent. But if they have more than 3 years, they cannot use 4 or 5 or 6 years of rent increases. So they can only go as far as 3 years. And if they haven't used the right to increase the rent, well, they lost it. So receiving that yearly letter is usually normal.
Yep.
And it is expected. Don't take it wrong. It's just landlords updating the rent to try to keep up with at least the inflation.
Yeah, I've received that letter. It's a good system, and I think Debbie's ready for that now. Thank you for that clarification explanation. I'd be happy to pay 2% increase, says Debbie. I have a private landlord who is charging me a very fair / low rent. So that's great. Really useful information, I think, for more than just Debbie there on that particular point. Thank you, Daniel. You were mentioning guarantors. There is an insurance product for this, isn't there, Nunu, as well, which I think we should mention. And another question for you about insuring hearing aids that's coming on YouTube, which are that cost more than a car. So first of all, guarantor insurance, or I guess that's landlord insurance, isn't it, for the tenant? How does that work, Nunu?
So it's an insurance contract annually that renews annually.
Yeah.
That ensures the owner or the landlord that he or she will receive the agreed rent.
Yes, very good.
Yeah,
very useful. So somebody who is concerned or can't find a guarantor can use this product.
Yes.
Very good. Yes. Excellent. Okay, so that's a good option if you're coming to Portugal. Now, this other question from Christina: can you insure very expensive hearing aids? The cost is more than my car. This and other personal items, maybe a laptop or a musical instrument. Do you do cover for such special items, Nunu?
Yes, but as usual, it depends.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it's to insure as a standalone object to insure, no way. If it's a part of a content and is not the main object of the content, yes, it's also insurable.
Ah, okay. So Christina would have to insure her hearing aids as part of her household items or personal items.
Yes.
Very good. Okay.
Then the other point is to be insured only at home or also using on the street, for example.
Yes.
And we also have this option, but it requires a minimum content of 150,000 euros to be insured, plus the building. Okay?
Right. Okay.
So it depends. Yes, can be done, but it depends.
To give you a call or drop you an email to find out specifically how household or personal effects insurance could work, but not particular specific insurance for particular products or items. That's how it works here. Okay, very good. I think that's it. I mean, if you've got a question, please get in now. We've only got a few minutes left. And I want to ask our panel here, what they've learned from expats and foreigners, because I'm sure there'll be some interesting stories here. I'm sure Gilda will have an interesting story about what she may have learned from foreigners and expats, maybe some of the things they miss, how they've dealt with some of the things we'll be hearing about next week. We'll come to you as Queen of the Visas as our final comment this evening. Let's go to Daniel first. What have you learned from foreigners moving to Portugal, Daniel?
Well, from Brazilians, that Portuguese are literal. We are literal people. Yeah, they tell us that. That's interesting. And it's something that I didn't notice because, well, if you are inside a culture, it's difficult to see those
Yes.
particular aspects. But I did start noticing it. And yes, we are a bit literal and straightforward and straight to the point. At least comparing to Brazilians, and they find us annoyingly literal. So that's a funny cultural aspect.
Very good. Thank you for that. Yeah, so watch out for that. Watch out for the Portuguese being very literal. Very good cultural insight there. Thank you very much. Carolina, you talk to foreigners coming to Portugal all day long. What are some of the interesting things you found out about their look at life and how they're being here in Portugal?
Well, both from America and England, I found out that they think that we eat very late and that we go out very late. I had a client and they wanted bars and discos, and I was like, oh, you have Cais do Sodré where you have some discos and you can be there until like 5 a.m. And they start laughing at my face like, what the hell? What do you mean 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
So yes, those two were funny to find out.
Very good. Thank you for being here tonight. Casa Portuguesa's Carolina Muralha, thank you for being here. And if you need any help finding a rental or a house to buy in any part of Portugal, you can get in touch with Carolina about that. Nuno, what about you? Talking to expats, finding out about what they think about the culture. What's the interesting things have you discovered?
Okay, so many things. So I want
Right.
I want going to mention one, which is I'm an introvert, even though that I'm here every Thursday night
You hide it well.
talking with you. I'm really an introvert, and it has been very easy to start relations
Yeah.
with expats.
Yes.
And remember that we work with Chinese expats previously, and it's very hard.
Right.
But not especially with the Americans. Also, and this is so true that there is one guy that I don't know, we just connect, that is James Hawley.
Yes.
And 3 or 4 weeks ago, we just attend together to a music festival or a dance festival, the two. So it has been an amazing journey.
And you were surprised at how friendly American people are, for example.
Yes, because I was expecting, look, we are God. Not you need to talk in English. Now you need to act as we think that you need to act. But no, it's different. You are humble. You want to mingle with Portuguese. You want to be part of the community. So it's
how lovely to hear that.
Learning.
Fantastic. Keep it up, foreigners. That's what we want. Thanks, Lulu, for that.
Yes, thank you to all of you.
I'm not sure, Sarah, if you would add anything to this, because you're not, I mean, you're kind of Portuguese already, aren't you, really? You are a resident. What have you learned from foreigners?
Funny because everywhere I go, I went to shop, I went to an event, all the Portuguese just talk to me in Portuguese. Like they think I'm Portuguese, which is very strange because I don't look Portuguese.
And what do you do, Sarah? Do you nod and smile, or?
Well, I try, but the thing is, I only go so far. So it's I apologize that then I'm English. And then
as you should do. English people are just known for their apologies. I mean, I don't think you should apologize because you're English, but English people love apologizing, is what I would say about that, without opening up a can of political worms right there. So yeah, so it sounds like you're having a lovely experience anyway of being here.
But I think everything everyone said, I totally agree. It's still like, it is obviously a different culture, but they do eat a little bit later. So that is a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah.
Us Brits, we do eat earlier, go out earlier, not as late. But yeah, and
5 o'clock in the evening.
Well, and also, Nuna's right, even sort of as an expat, meeting other expats. It's been lovely when you sort of, even if you come by yourself, or you come as a couple and you don't know anybody else, you know, the Portuguese have been really friendly and welcoming, but also the other expats as well. And, you know, there's lots of people that you can meet and become friends with. So don't be scared about coming and thinking, I don't know anybody. It really isn't a problem. Everybody is super welcoming and friendly,
That
whether
is
it be an expat
fantastic
or
to
the
hear.
Portuguese.
Great.
And the Portuguese as well, you know, they offer help, you know, if you need anything, even people that, you know, don't know you so well, if you really you had a problem, I think you could call them.
Great, that's good to know. So nationals, the natives, and fellow expats, a very friendly environment to be in. Excellent. It would be nice if the Zoom link for these Dream Team meetings are posted every Thursday in the WhatsApp group. There you go. Sometimes I think of joining, but I struggle to know where to find the link. That's a great bit of feedback. I think it is occasionally, Si, but thank you for that reminder. Just submitted my review of Expats Portugal. I very much appreciate the service, says La Ronda. Thank you for doing that. And I think Derek was saying he wants to be your 100th man, Jerry. Make of that what you will, but I think that's about a consultation.
Well,
thank you, Derek.
Can you hear me, Carl?
Yes, loud and clear.
Sorry. Well, we've had Michael and LaRonda give us a review tonight. So LaRonda makes, I think, number 85, I think.
Okay.
So we've got to get 14 in before Derek.
There you go, Derek. You know what to do. Okay, just wait for a moment to be his 100th man there. And LaRonda likes literal, by the way, Daniel. It leaves no questions. Everything is clear. I can live with that, says LaRonda. How nice to have a bit of clarity there. So finally then, Gilda, I think I've included everybody. What have you learned from foreigners coming to Portugal, Gilda? And obviously we're going to learn more about foreigners and their experience next week. We're going to talk to some retirees. Final words to you then on what you've learned, Gilda.
Well, I've been learning for 10 years, lots of wonderful things,
Right.
stories about changing lives, achieving dreams. It's wonderful. But I would like to say something.
Right.
Everyone that comes to Portugal, they are so excited when they are preparing their visas and getting their residency permits and finding the house. And then they say, Gilda, when we have our house ready, we are going to cook for you. Gilda,
Right.
when our swimming pool is ready, we are going to invite you. So for 10 years, I keep this notebook here, okay, with everything that everyone that says they are going to invite me for lunch, for dinner, for the
Oh
swimming
my
pool.
word. The book of
And
promises. The book of promises.
Except from Sarah, that she really did invite me.
Yes. But the rest of you, suddenly loads of people are leaving
Be careful with what you promise, because you are on this book.
Okay, so, and she's got your addresses, obviously, because of she knows where you live. So make good on that, everybody.
It's like Christmas is coming up and you're on the naughty list.
Do the right thing. Do the right thing, everybody. Make good on your promises to Gilda, whether it was a bottle of gin, a pool party, or dinner. It's all written down in the book, Jerry.
Well, I think this is a clever plot by Gilda to make all of us feel guilty now. Nobody can remember what we said and we didn't say. So we'll all rush out and buy Gilda dinner. I think it's a very clever move, Gilda. Well done. I wish I'd thought of it. Clever.
Yep, excellent stuff. Thanks for your time tonight. Great meeting. Cheers, says Derek. And clearly the others weren't literal people, says LaRonda on the subject of literality. Derek, don't want to be in the black book on the revolution. So yeah, please make good on those promises, everybody. And Debbie, this is a great comment. This has been the meatiest Zoom. This has been one of the meatiest Dream Team Zooms. And she means that in a good way, in a Portuguese cozida kind of way. Meaty, muito obrigado from Debbie there. Thanks, Dream Team. You've been brilliant tonight. We'll see you at 7:30 next week for the chat with the retirees. And we'll see you for the Dream Team again at 9. Take care. Bye for now.